I'll call the meeting of Tuesday, June the 6th to order. And we respectfully acknowledge that we are meeting on the traditional and ancestral lands of the Coast Salish people. Adoption of the agenda. Moved by Trustee DeGroot, seconded by Trustee Thorne. All those in favor? Motion carries. Moving to minutes of the May 2nd, 2017 open board meeting. Motion to adopt. Moved by Trustee Cross, seconded by Trustee Dolan. All those in favor? Motion carried. And moving to the best item on the agenda, recognition and delegations. And the first is the Minio presentation by the International Student Program. And we welcome Liz, I think I saw here. And Kevin, would you like to introduce your presenters, please?
Actually, I think you're okay to introduce yourself, right?
Oh, yes.
Right, welcome.
My name is Martin, and this is Alex. We all come from China. And we did the volunteer on the Minio Olympic track meeting, and we did a little film, and this is what we want to show you. And you enjoy.
Thank you for coming. For those of us who attended, we want to thank you to begin with, just for being part of it.
This. Maybe
Mirror your drive, mirror your screen.
So if you go into settings, yeah.
I can't.
Can we just flash drive it over? Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. It's still, it's.
Good chair, Nicole. It's good lunch.
Put the flash drive on the computer that's already set up. I think it's in there.
Yeah, I went to.
You want a flash drive?
You're gonna load it. You're gonna load
You
it.
put on the flash drive and I can say. So, how's this? Should we do something else with that?
Otherwise,
Rob?
presentation first.
Okay.
Moving to delegation B, Trustee Hutchins.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll do it from here. Janet, on behalf of the board, I have the pleasure to recognize you. From Chemaina Secondary School has recently achieved 2 significant accomplishments in teaching excellence. Recently, Janice has become a National Geographic Certified Educator. This accomplishment demonstrates a commitment by a teacher to teach their students about the world and how it works, empowering them to succeed and make it a better place. This past month also brought me accolades for a Certificate of Achievement, the Prime Minister's Award for Teaching Excellence. Janet earned this recognition for being a teacher who fosters a growth of curiosity and thirst for knowledge, encouraging students to evaluate issues by examining the moral and ethical decisions made in the past. And with our national leaders, we probably have a lot more work to do in the future. Congratulations, Janet, on your accomplishments, and thank you for your dedication to enriching the lives of your students. your school community and our district are a better place for you being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'd just like to once again thank the superintendent and assistant superintendents for the support that they've given to me over the last, not a few years, but it seems like many years. But to thank you for your support and in my endeavors over the last few years, and for the support that you showed when Jen Bailey and I went to the 100th anniversary of the Vimy Ridge celebrations. That was something to experience firsthand. So thanks again for your support.
Okay, shall we move to the next delegation or? Oh, you're ready? Hooray, all right.
We're not quite.
Not quite? Okay, let's move to our second recognition, which is Trustee DeGroot.
It is. And right now we are proud to now honor Brian Dawson, a teacher from Francis Kelsey, who was awarded the BC Youth Soccer Association 2016-2017 Coach of the Year. This is a province-wide award for coaching both in the community and at the school soccer, and he received it in recognition for his contributions and accomplishments in the past year. And on behalf of the board, I would like to thank you for everything that you do for kids.
Brian, would you like to
Say a few words? Sure. Well, thank.
Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank. First of all, I've got great support from my admin team, who within the school setting, they're very, very willing to just support anything that I do. On the community scene, I work a lot with Monroe here, being the gym allocator for CVSA, and he works tirelessly to help support me as a gym coordinator and soccer and recreation in general. So thank you to Monroe and to the admin team and to the board as well for all the work that you do. So thank you very much.
Don't worry about this.
Are we ready?
Just double click on the icon.
Put on your glasses.
Can you stretch it with the cursor?
Ah, there we go. Got it.
Hey.
Are you ready, gentlemen?
You said that you never be, but I was
Thank you very much. That really captured the spirit and fun of the day and how important it was for our district. And we certainly appreciate the international program and all of that they do for the kids. It's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Trustee Hutchins.
Did you use a drone for some of those? Nice.
Any further comments or questions from trustees? Mr. Superintendent, your photos?
Some people should not wear orange. Stand up. It's not Halloween. Just curious about, the international program has participated in the Minio for a few years now, and why is that important to you to do those kinds of things, and what do the international kids get out of that kind of participation?
We're thinking that Canadian society gives us a lot, and I think we should pay back to this society. We shouldn't just take it, we should pay back.
Thank you. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming and presenting, and thank you to our recognized teachers.
Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, yes, thank you. Well, hope you've enjoyed your time. Oh. Okay, moving to item 5, report of closed meeting, Mr. Sandquist.
Thank you. Just prior to the open meeting this evening, the board met in closed session, discussed personnel items, reviewed a summary of surplus properties, which led to a decision to undertake a demographic study of the school district.
Thank you. Moving to old business, action list on page 9. Are there any comments or questions from trustees or staff? I'd just like to refer you to the item on the communication of the strategic priorities plan. And just to remind you of what was on that plan that the trustees agreed to complete. And we'll have a check-in at our board planning this week. Next week, pardon me. Next week. Anything further on the action list? Okay. moving back to the agenda, Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Elm.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To begin with, for an update of various things around the district. It's always an exciting year, and it's I know many of the trustees are very involved in the kinds of things that are happening in our schools right now through scholarships, etc. But just to highlight a few things. The district scholarships, and again, thank you to all the trustees that have participated in that. Just under 90 students participated in the district scholarship presentations held at each of the district secondary schools during the week of May 29th to June 2nd. Topics of the presentations range from physical activity, community service, fine arts, technology, trades, international languages, applied design, science and technology. I can think of 10 other things that I'm not sure fit onto the list. Trustee Dolman was particularly taken with the accident victim. We had a makeup artist at the lake who did an amazing presentation of movie makeup and glass shards hanging out of people.
It was
It
really
was
gross.
really
Very cool.
really cool.
Very cool.
Luckily, it was before lunch. There were 63 awards valued at $1,250 each for a total of $78,750. And winners will be announced at their school's award presentations as they come up in the subsequent days. So it's passionate kids talking about things that they're passionate about. It's an amazing opportunity to meet with those kids. The Hector McIntosh speaking competition, 36th annual Hector McIntosh competition was held May 15th. ST79 schools did great again this year. Lake Cowichan, Francis Kelsey, Maple Bay, Cowichan Secondary all finished in the medals in a variety of parts of the competition. The secondary school apprenticeship grants, I don't see Larry here. The secondary school apprenticeship numbers in the school district have increased from 3 last year to over 40 this year. And now the checks are starting to come in for students earning grants to pursue their apprenticeship. Last week, $2,000 grants were given out to 2 students, one to Evan Tudor Jones, a mechanic. And you can see Evan there. And Theodore, a student, Theodore, who is a meat cutter who apprenticed at Cowichan Valley Meat Market and is now working for Thrifty Foods as a meat cutter. So also receiving a $1,000 check for that. So this is the beginning of really being able to highlight and support students. So from 3 to 40, and now we're getting those kids in a position to earn these kinds of grants. There's information on a link for the SSA apprenticeship program, and we'll have that connected in later. School district elementary track meet, again, I know folks were there. We had about 700 students participating, so they had to run over 2 different days. Each day, 7 of the elementary schools participated with roughly 50 students from each schools. Great participation, just awesome participation by kids, volunteers, and staff, of course, who were out there en masse, making sure this was happening. Trustee Hutchins have it. Francis Kelsey Secondary Guitar Music Class Showcase and Tech Project, interesting combination of things. And I think we have maybe a little clip of that. Just a few seconds. We have the silent version here. It's okay. Oh, bottom left. Thanks, Gina. And they performed in front of their peers, which is always tough, as well as a special guest from 93.1 The Zone. Mr. John Shields, our station manager, came to be part of the audience, sort of a professional critic in the audience. It's awesome. Guitars and so on purchased through grant money. As well, this little video clip. It's a video heavy day. Perhaps we should guess what it is before you see it in action.
Snowblower.
This is a Francis Kelsey Secondary Tech 10 class. Students created projects which were of interest to them. Evan Quancy worked with his father, who's in hydraulics, to create a kindling splitter. When the teacher, Don Hall, asked why kindling splitter, Evan said, "Because I hate cutting kindling." Move your hand, please.
Next scene is first aid.
It's gonna go really fast.
Yeah.
He cut this kindling really well.
I'm just all in suspense now.
Try again now that it's loaded. Anyway, it cuts the kindling really well. We'll hold more hope for our next video. So just, and as you know, it's graduation and award ceremonies and all those things that are happening across the district right now. Would like to have you indulge me for 15 minutes. This is the newest video from Shaw TV about us in the school district. I think this is the final version, or almost. They've been working very diligently with us and our students to tell our part of our story here. So, Gina, thank you.
Over the next 15 minutes, you are going to learn about how the BC public school system is updating its methods of instruction to accommodate our changing world. A team of educators from School District 79 take us traveling through their experiences as part of land-based learning. And Superintendent Ron Allen addresses why education needs to change so that our youth have relevant skills when entering the workforce.
When we talked to students in our district, secondary students, and asked them how well a job they think we're doing in preparing them for the world they anticipate coming. Interesting that they all told us from all the different schools basically the same thing. They said it would be great if what we're learning was more real, was more grounded in their terms, reality and out in the real world. Less simulation, more real life application. Is it things that could we be learning of math? Well, we're learning how to do our taxes and learning how to budget properly and learn those kinds of things. And so they want a sense that what they're doing matters and will matter to them, and it's important to them. And that's like that hook into personalized learning. I think where that really connects with theory is that we know that learning happens when you apply something. So it sort of no longer matters what you know, it matters what you can do with what you know.
Today we find ourselves at the Chase Woods Conservation Area. It's on the south slope of Montezuma, and we're doing some ecological restoration here for the Nature Conservancy of Canada.
Well, I guess it all started back in 2015 in the fall. Denise and I went to a workshop on clam gardens and started in a conversation about how we could do things different in education, and I guess we kind of hatched something that looked like this land-based program.
What impact have you seen this program have on the learners that work with you?
I think the great thing about this program is that kids actually get to be outside doing things and learning about the natural environment. It's one thing to teach a program about biology within the sort of concrete walls of the classroom and have kids try to develop an appreciation for the outdoors when it's all around us, and really what we should be doing is just getting out and seeing what really happens. You know, I can talk about Douglas fir trees in a classroom and use the sort of Latin names for them and, you know, call them Pseudosuga mencisi, or we can get out here and have kids actually experience the outdoors and see what a Douglas fir tree looks like. Talk about stories about Douglas fir and how it's used and the type of ecosystem it likes to grow in. And I think the learning there is just so much more valuable, usable, and probably transferable to later life. I think kids that would have been in a biology class of mine in the past probably learned some fancy words about Douglas fir trees, but probably couldn't find one in the forest.
There were 30 students in the class. About 17 of them were of Aboriginal ancestry. I can speak to that first because I think the impact for some of those students was pretty profound. So one of the boys, Trey, said multiple times that I've been in school for 12 years, and this is the first time I've ever had myself, my language, my culture reflected in my learning. And so that's been a real critical piece for him. And he also said I used to want calls a lot and maybe not have the best attendance, but I am now in class every day, all day, because a large part of my day every day is me just learning about my language, culture, and history.
At first, I was very hesitant to going into the class. I wanted to switch out, but I had friends in this class who motivated me to stay in and actually try it out. You know, I was like a regular student, I didn't want to go in. But after a good week of it, I loved it. You know, I really liked the environment, I liked the teachers, I liked the students around me. Everyone became your friend, and it was very supportive for me.
You and I have talked before about this, that what was the connection between your First Nations culture and land-based?
Land-based gave me a chance to connect with myself and find myself spiritually. With land-based, they gave me a chance to actually achieve that. You know, they gave me an independent study where I got to study the history of Kalashnik, which was very, very helpful for me to find who I was.
And I guess the relationship building is really very different too. I mean, I know these kids quite well, and we've gotten dirty and muddy and experienced cold, rainy, and snowy days together. And I think we have a really good rapport.
So we all had like a friendship, even like the teachers, and I thought it was a lot easier to learn because I knew the teachers more and had a bond with them.
It was like we were all one big happy family, and it was very good to be in one class with those guys every single day. It's like I know more about them than I would with my other classmates.
I noticed the kids learning basically working skills, how to work together as a group, how to be a little bit more like a family.
Being in this program and being with them all day long, we got really comfortable with each other. And Mr. Lordson, he was really nice. Because I'm a 4-H, I could talk to him about agriculture and everything like that. And it was like a friend instead of a teacher, you know, something like that. And then Miss McDougall, she was really nice. She's someone that I can see myself going to if I have any problems, you know, or anything like that. Now that we're so comfortable with each other.
We know that we have excellent teachers and educators in our province. That's why we have the international ranking that we have. Our young people are so well served by the educators that we have. But again, the types of things, the structure of our schools haven't changed in 150 years. We know that routine cognitive tasks, the kinds of things that our schools do a lot of, traditionally around the world, are the things that are easiest to digitize and move offshore. So how do we adequately prepare our kids for a world where those aren't the kinds of skill sets that they need? How do we get to a place of deeper understanding? How do we help our kids learn things that really matter and will prepare them for a world that we can't predict, that doesn't exist yet? The pace of change is so quicker. We know we've moved from classrooms that were places where students were given knowledge by teachers. We know now that that's shifting to classrooms where students and teachers are all learners together and creating new knowledge and new understandings. And that's quite a significant shift. We can't ignore the impact that technology's had. So many people have access to smartphones and ubiquitous technology and access that has to be taken into account as we consider the kinds of world our kids are going into and the kinds of skills they need to be successful in those ways.
Well, from where I stand, my son Joey has 2 learning disabilities, which affect just a traditional classroom-based learning. So when this land-based learning opportunity came up, I looked into it and then I jumped for it because with these 2 disabilities, we found that it put Joey on the same level as all the other kids. He didn't have disabilities in the land-based learning. He was at the same level. He was learning at his speed, his way, and he was just so enthusiastic. He came home every day just tapping and talking and just running a mile a minute about what he learned at school today. And this is a first. So as a parent, this was fantastic to see. It was a very nice experience to finally see Joey not struggling, just to be learning and loving it.
What kind of places did you go?
Yeah, we've been all over. So a lot of our work was local. So we've been here as the Nature Conservancy of Canada site, Chase Woods, but we've also been at the Cowichan and Garry Oak Preserve. We've been at Salmonos Marsh. We've been to Averill Creek and Bings Creek, both local fish-bearing streams. We've done some restoration work on those. We've been to the Cowichan River, which is really important to our valley. We've been to a few different fish hatcheries. We've been to the First Nations fish hatchery down Boys Road. And we've also had kids doing work experience at the Trout Hatchery, which is a British Columbia government facility. We've been at Stokes Pool, which is a provincial park. Eves Park, and a local community park. We work with community groups, the Cowichan Green community, working on composting and vegetable gardening. We've done canning workshops. We've made soup and desserts for community meals. We worked with the Jubilee Gardens, helped some seniors weed their beds at the end of the year, and in turn they told us about seed saving and just some gardening basics. We've done work with pollinators, whether they're bees or flies or even in some case birds, but we've gone sort of further afield. We've been to the Provincial Museum, we've been to the Pacific Forestry Center, we've also gone to, our big trip this year was to Tofino. The kids love Tofino, they all like to talk about Tofino. As part of our PE program, of course, being physically active, the kids got to go surfing, take surf lessons. We went to the Opitsit First Nation on Mears Island, had a wonderful bit of storytelling, some First Nations art displays. So we've been all over the place and done all sorts of great, exciting things.
I learned more stuff than I would in any other class. In my biology, I would learn more than I would in an actual classroom because you get to go outside and experience it in person. You get to talk to people who do well, like who know more stuff than what we're learning.
Do you think that there's a difference between learning on the field trip than learning, from reading the stuff that you normally do?
Yeah, because it's more hands-on. I thought it was a lot easier. I think it's easier for me to learn hands-on rather than just reading boring textbooks, because I just post pretty much reading them. In normal classes, I get really fidgety and I can't really stay still. And then, like halfway through the day, I just completely lose focus. In the land-based program, I was staying focused all day long because we were switching things up. We were going outside and everything. It was just a really nice way to learn. I was staying focused. I was excited to come to school. I talked about it nonstop with my parents.
Even the other students said that they felt something different than what you feel just reading about it. There's a different connection you have when you actually go out and do it than read about it. I do this. I canoe paddle all summer long. And being able to do it with the students in my class, they get to see a different side of me that no one else gets to see.
So more than ever, our young people have to be creative, critical thinkers. They have to understand how to get along with others from mixed cultural backgrounds, because we live in a world that's so exciting and first that we need our kids to really have and understand those skills. You don't have to look too far to recognize the needs when students are engaging in social media to be critical. So when BC's new curriculum was being considered and being drafted, we reached out to people across the province, from the business community, from the world of work, from post-secondary, and asked them what are the skills young people need today to be successful in your area. And interestingly enough, they said the same thing. They all said, the skills of our students are quite high. It's the ability to collaborate, the ability to think critically, the ability to create collectively, to create new knowledge and new information, to have grit, to be able to tackle a problem and stick with it until they get to the end of the problem. We know that young people will go into a variety of careers, unlike my old generation, where we sort of found a career and stuck with it. Our young people will be going through 3, 4, 5, up to 7 different careers. So they need to be able to teach themselves. So what's, again, crucial with this idea of the new curriculum is what it enables. The curriculum doesn't describe exactly what has to happen in classrooms. That's left to our teachers, and our excellent teachers who make quality professional decisions based on the learning of the kids in front of them at the time. But it enables a great deal more flexibility, it enables a great deal more creativity on the part of both teachers and students, and fosters different kinds of settings, allowing students to personalize and go deeper. So we're seeing in our schools now, teachers increasingly taking those enabling opportunities, and with students designing different learning environments, like the land-based program, like the community classroom, like inquiry. And we're seeing that happening more and more, where students and teachers and parents are working together, rethinking their relationship between and amongst themselves to ensure that young people have the best education possible to prepare them for the future.
Be the star, start of something beautiful.
That was a wow, thank you.
Yes.
Oh, amazing work.
Again, thanks to staff and kids, and big thanks to Denise, who, whatever the heck an Access producer is, she's one of them. Sort of helping put that together. Emily from Shaw was great, trying to, I don't know how many edits she went through, trying to get the story right, trying to get the right language and the right terms for things. So this will be on, I'm not sure if we've heard from Emily when this goes to air.
We haven't heard, she's working on it yesterday, and I think the hope is to have it up next week.
Yeah, so that it will go out and about. One more thing, if you'll indulge me, still on my update, is you have a backgrounder, I think, in your just coming around. We have the ministry data comes out in the spring from the year previously after they've worked through all the information. And you have a one-pager here, text on one side, graphics on the other. So if we start on the graphics side, perhaps the backgrounder, 2015, 2016 6-year completion rates, sort of the gold standard data. For us, you can see the Cowichan Valley 2015, 2016 has our 6-year completion rate for all students at 82.1%. That's an improvement of 5.6% over the previous year. For Aboriginal students, our 6-year completion rate is at 60.6%, a 7.3% increase over the previous year. And as well, you can see 2 years previous. So we're certainly heading in the right direction, and we're trending in the right direction, and some, I think, pretty significant increases. We've also included for you the 6-year completion rates for sort of the South Island, our closest neighbors. And again, this information is pulled from the Ministry of of Education. And you can see the provincial 6-year completion rate at 83.6%. We're not quite there yet, getting perilously close, which is great. Still a long way to go, but is excellent. Same with Aboriginal at 60.6%. And you can see our neighboring districts, how we're doing in comparison to them on the same data. So again, that I think speaks to the hard work that's going on by teachers and staff across the district, really trying to make a difference for kids. And you don't want to get too excited about 1 year's data, but for sure we're beginning to trend in the right direction. And on the flip side of that page is an opinion editorial that Katie, thank you Katie, will press the button on from Candace and I. That will go out to media contacts out in the papers to let folks know how we're doing.
Well, it's a tremendous record. We need to thank everyone in the school district. From the leadership team to every teacher and EA and bus driver and parents and students. And together, which is what we've said, we want to work together, and together we're moving forward. It's a wonderful record. And thank you, Andy, Katie, for pulling that data and for sharing that we're on the right track. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Any questions or comments from other trustees? Okay, moving on then, school fees and deposit schedules.
Right, so you see in your package, page 10, there's a list of the various school fees that are charged throughout the district. This is for your information. Each year we need to bring this to you for your information. The kinds of fees that happen, and of course, as you know, it's also connected to our hardship policy, so that, which you passed earlier in the year, so that's, if there are challenges with these fees, hardship piece at the bottom, that's waived. Second.
Any questions on fees and deposits? Okay, thank you.
The school calendar, next piece is, nothing's changed on that. What that is each year after we've submitted it, we still have to update it with information from the CBTF after their meetings where they ratify the dates. And so that's just confirming where we're at. So this is no change from the previous version you've seen. It's just now formal from our partners.
Any questions or comments? Okay,
And finally, you see a briefing note on specialty academy fees. This is different from school fees. Each year, for any academy that meets the district, or the ministry definition of academy, has to be passed annually by the board. And so we bring to you this year, as we did last year, a note that talks about our only true academy, which is a hockey academy running out of Kelsey. You see how it meets the criteria from the School Act, so that it is truly an academy, and the fee of $1,200 per student for that academy. And there's a recommendation.
any questions or comments? Trustee Croft.
So academy fees are included in any financial hardship considerations?
Yes.
Yes, and so would that ever be partial, or is it the whole thing? I guess I'm just asking if someone feels they're $500 short rather than $1,200.
Those are conversations that principals have
So
all the time.
So it's tailored then. Thank you.
Trustee Hutchins?
So move the recommendation.
Moved by Trustee Hutchins, seconded by Trustee Thorne. Any further comments? All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Go back to the school school calendar. Is it common to have just non-administration day at the end of the year? Is this a common practice?
I think standard in almost every district, perhaps.
And in the collective agreement.
Yeah, it's also part of the collective agreement, and it's in yes, separate from exam days or other kinds of things, but the Act and collective agreements allow for an administrative day at the end of the year.
Moving forward to National Aboriginal Day.
As you know, June 21st is National Aboriginal Day, and we encourage, well, there's a number of activities that happen in our schools. We don't do something specifically as a district because we encourage people, staff and students, etc., to participate in the school-based activities and in the community activities where there's really a focus. So we don't want to take away from that, but would like to perhaps recognize that that's an important day for us. It's an important day for families and folks in this district. And so suggesting perhaps the board might want to recognize that day in minutes.
So is there a mover for the motion? Moved by Trustee Thorne, seconded by Trustee Paul. Any discussion? All those in favor? The motion carries.
And I'm sure it's a very lengthy report.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Moving to Mr. Secretary Treasurer.
Thank you. For board information, the Ministry of Education has recently announced a Rural and Remote Workforce Sustainability Fund, and it is intended to assist boards that are rural in nature in recruitment of educational professionals, and there's some criteria listed there. Now, interesting, School District 79, for the purposes of this fund, is considered to be a rural district. Vancouver, Victoria, and Kelowna are deemed to be urban districts and not eligible. So for the purposes of applying for funding for new hires, if the board needs to provide an incentive for a moving allowance for a new teacher to attract them, or an administrator, funding can be made available through this fund through application to the Ministry of Education. The board's notional share is $35,000. And we just bring it to your attention that we'll look to find ways to access it to benefit those that are choosing to join us.
Thank you, Trustee Hutchins.
Are you pleased with that amount?
Mr. Singh, are you pleased? The amount of funding.
Seems like a small amount of money.
Right, so it's a notional allocation. I mean, I don't know if that means that you can get more than your share if you have more demands than somebody else. Certainly, it talks about some of the limits for practicum students of being $1,000 or $2,500. So there certainly are some limits there. I don't know how significant the dollars will be to attract people, but certainly some of the new I can think that some of the new administrative hires may be able to take advantage of this, or some of the new teachers that may be choosing to join us may be able to take advantage of this, or may be able to assist with some moving expenses for some individuals. It's still new funding that wasn't expected, and will certainly benefit some of our new employees.
So is an allocation based on population of school district, and Fort St. John, who is in crisis and needs of staffing, would they get the same proportional amount as
It looks like it. It looks like it's $35,000 per school district, the way this is written.
I think we have to agree with what you're saying, though it's very strange, because if you go to provincial meetings, those northern districts are really saying that they are in problems. And we probably are very fortunate because of geographically. The island attracts people, but the northern districts are really struggling. Anything further on this agenda item? Moving on then to board action capital plan.
Thank you. The capital plan, 2017-2018 capital plan was announced in March and brought to the board for information. And at that time, we indicated that the whole Mount Provost Elementary and Coheman Elementary heating and ventilation upgrade projects may be exchanged for roofing projects where our operations department see a much higher demand. That change is still in progress. However, the bylaw process has changed to where the board previously used to approve an individual bylaw with a dollar amount for every capital project. Now you're only required to adopt a capital bylaw for all projects with no dollar amount. So even if they change to the roofing projects, which will, I assume, will still be the same $515,000 that the other two projects are, there won't be a need to revise this. But in order to access the funds for the next school year and begin these projects, the board is required to adopt a capital bylaw for 2017-2018, and that's what's here before you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments, Trustee Hutchins?
So move the recommendation.
Move then the first reading.
Yes.
The Board of Education of School District 79 gives first reading to capital bylaw 1701 capital plan 2017-2018. Moved by Trustee Hutchins, seconded by Trustee Schmidt. No discussion on first reading. All those in favor? Motion carries. Moving to second reading. So moved by Trustee Schmidt, seconded by Trustee Thorne. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Moving to reading 3. Moved by Trustee Croft, seconded by Trustee DeGroot. All those in favor? Motion carries. Moving to asking that this be third and final reading. So moved by Trustee Schmidt, seconded by Trustee Dolan. All those in favor? Motion carries. Moving then to the final reading, which is we approve the capital.
I think that was final.
Oh, that was fine.
There's another one.
What is this one? Oh, okay.
Process-wise, why do we have to give the third reading twice? Why do we give the third reading twice?
We actually were supposed to agree to do 3 readings.
Yes, you
The last two
agreed
things.
to agree. Yes. Agree to take it to the last step. Okay, moving to item B, another capital plan. Mr. Sigler.
This is the capital plan request for 2018-2019, and it is a complicated template to display well on screen. So I'm going to see if we can bring up the summary sheet, which has all the different projects on it. Zoom through the top page is really the one that's significant. Hope we can show that one. We had this issue last year as well with displaying the ministries template. So I'm going to walk through the projects as we try to bring those up. That's a component of it.
This one.
It actually be found in your agenda package.
I think it was there.
Yep.
There it
The
is.
very first one in the white sheet is the one we're trying to access. There we go. That's it. So the board is required to submit a 2018-29 5-year capital plan, and if we run into some more specific questions, we have Monroe Grove, our Director of Operations, here to assist in answering questions. The very first item here remains the Cowichan Secondary School replacement project. And that project is shown here at $53,710,440, and that was shown over a 4-year project. The second project, which is new to the 5-year capital plan summary and was identified when Lonnie Schermerhorner, our capital manager, along with Monroe Grove, talked about the need for a roofing projects in the district, that the district had a significant backlog of roofing projects, and so in this capital plan are asking for just under $2 million, $1,950,000 over 3 years to begin to address those. The third item on the list, I know the fonts aren't large here, is the Alex Aiken Elementary School Build an Envelope project, and right below that is the Alex Aiken Elementary School Seismic Mitigation Project. There are cost efficiencies to putting those two projects together. If you're doing building envelope work and have the walls open for the building membrane, it also makes sense to begin your seismic work at that same time. Some other projects where those were done together were Drinkwater Elementary and Lake Cowichan School in recent years. And then the projects start to become more minor in nature for the next couple here. We have heating boiler replacement in the Maintenance and Transportation Department, Nicole Mountain Prevost School with a boiler replacement for 4 years out, Coheman Elementary School with a HVAC system upgrade, and that is bringing back in the HVAC system upgrades that we're asking for a roofing project for in the 17-18 plan that you've just seen. Cowichan Secondary Quamachin Campus, seismic mitigation, there's $3 million worth of capital work potentially there. Alexander Elementary School also has a seismic project on the books, along with Cole Mountain Prevost Elementary School. So that school is currently undergoing the building envelope project. It would have been nice to have been able to combine those two projects. And moving out into the year 5, we have Bench Elementary, Coheman with seismic, Duncan Elementary with seismic, Chemainus Secondary with seismic, and Tansy Elementary with seismic. And for next year, there's a school bus replacement, a single full capacity school bus. So earlier in the closed session, I mentioned in the report of the closed meeting that the board will undertake a demographic study to review where the population needs or where the population trends are going to go among the district. This could look quite different in 2019-2020 after seeing that type of a plan. There's certainly the potential for additional operating capacity requirements for elementary and possibly even the Cowichan Secondary School replacement. The scope of that could change pending information through a demographic report. So it is based on information that we know today, but certainly I would not be surprised to see elementary school and new builds based on the classroom, restoration of the class size and composition language and the pressures that has put on the district's capacity to come onto the next capital plan. But don't have the information to get to that place yet, but certainly think that's going to happen. So if there's any specific questions, Monroe is here to address some of those.
Trustee Hedges.
Thank you. If we were to go back 1 year, where was the Cowichan Secondary School replacement in terms of, I know it was number 1, but in terms of this layout, were we looking at the major investment in year 3 last year, and now it's down to year 2?
I believe it was exactly the same, where year 1 is the intake and the planning process. So if you were to get this approved, you want to start that as soon as possible. So year 2 is after the planning takes place and the construction begins. In year 3, the construction almost concludes. In year 4, it wraps up. It's a very large scale project. So it appears very, very similar to what was there before. What's not here this time that was there last time is the Cowichan Secondary seismic replacement. We believe the focus should be on replacement rather than repair.
Trustee Crowe?
Well, I'd be interested if Monroe can help with the seismic upgrades are so significant. Clearly they can't be done in the summer. How do you manage keeping the school open and places for the kids to play? How does that all fall together?
Can I refer that to staff first and they can choose to answer or refer out?
Thank you. Usually it's through a portable complex, which is brought in place, and the phasing of those projects around the building. So if it was to be at, let's go jump in if you need to. But typically, if it was Cowichan Secondary at the Quamachin campus, you would need to bring in capacity to move students out of a portion of that building, fix that part of the building, move those students back, move the next set of students out of the building to those portables as the project progresses through the facility.
Thank you. Anything further on this sheet? Okay. Just one thing before you go on. When this came electronically, I don't think we had all of the names of the schools on it, and I noticed it isn't here. Electronically, is it there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so on mine it's not. Okay, I'll check that. Trustee Hutchins?
I'd like to move the Board of Education, School District 79 approves the 2018-2019 capital plan as presented.
Moved by Trustee Hutchins, seconded by Trustee Schmidt. Any further comments? All those in favor? Motion carries. Is there anything else you want to point out to us on that one?
Just that certainly the implications of as I mentioned earlier, that the classroom enhancement fund around portable space. Portable space does not count as capacity as the board starts to look at future schools. The modulars do count as capacity, and they will be located in our current plan at the Quamachin campus. So those three beautiful buildings from Mill Bay are destined for the Quamachin campus. I want to also mention that a lot of our planning around, I'm kind of segueing into the Classroom Enhancement Fund and the Bill 28 issues, capital related and not capital related. The board still hasn't heard back on the teaching staffing allocation piece. There's an article in the Times Colonist today that sort of gives you a bit of a clue as to why that's happened, and that's just indicating that government is a bit paralyzed at the moment, and the Ministry of Education staff don't have authority to make decisions without government really being actively engaged. So we expect that that's part of why the delay has occurred. Certainly at our secondary schools, that's where most of the questions have been with our back and forth with the Ministry of Education as they work through the board's May 5th submission. And there's been some staff held back at the secondary level within the school's planning process to kind of hedge that our numbers are, or protect the board a little bit if in fact the ask isn't what returns. So we're optimistic that it will. I think our conversations with the ministry explaining our position on our secondary staffing levels have gone quite well. There were no questions on the elementary staffing. So I think that's what we were able to provide a lot more solid background, but understanding the secondaries hadn't timetabled yet on May 5th. We were operating on assumptions of what we thought that staffing level needed to be to meet their needs. And we're still waiting to hear back on the whole package, and it could very well be the end of June. But that ties into the number of spaces that you need, which ties into the number of facilities that you need, and will all be part of what will be considered by a demographer as he works on the project for the fall.
Move to final topic then, student learning grant.
Yes, there is a briefing note in the package on the student learning grant. I just want to make one amendment to it, and that is around the date for which the Ministry of Education needs to be notified of how these funds will be expended and progress to date. I have July 15th, it should say July 31st, and it should also say that DPAC also need to be notified of how it's to be expended. So the board have brought this item to advisory committee for feedback, and following that advisory committee, the teachers union and DPAC said that they would go away and talk to their members and bring back some information, and they did that. Staff also talked with the district's principal and vice principal team around allocation. And what seems to have come out of most of these discussions on consensus is included here in the package, and that is to distribute the grant funding on a per capita basis. So there was some talk about differentiating between school. Now the announcement does talk about $50 per FTE, so that becomes a simple way to allocate it to the various schools. That the funds be used in accordance with the ministry's specifications. as part of the recommendations. So the ministry has set out some categories that they're suggesting, such as learning resources, sporting equipment, supply items, that schools be allowed to determine how that funding can best support their students. So that's in consultation with the principal, the PAC, the staff representation, other staff, student representation. And I think what really came out of the discussions is that the items that are purchased, there's $385,000 here. It's one-time money, that those items not necessarily be consumables, but they be items that will benefit the school for time to come, such as a resource or a book or sporting equipment, those types of categories. Consumables disappear quickly. So from that, we've drafted a recommendation as we need to start to deliver these funds to the school so they can begin to plan and submit a plan to the district at sometime in July. So there's a recommendation that the Board of Education of School District number 79, Cowichan Valley, distributes the student learning grant on a per capita basis and instructs schools to utilize the funds in alignment with ministry specifications.
Moved by Trustee Schmidt, seconded by Trustee Thorn. Discussion. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
That concludes my report.
Thank you. Moving to committees and outside organizations. The first is the DPAC meeting on April 20th, and I believe Trustee Doma was able to.
No, Trustee Cross.
Trustee Cross was able to attend.
Oh, sorry, that was April, yeah.
Yeah.
Trustee
Oh,
Dolan.
it does say Trustee Doman.
Yeah.
Sorry. Trustee Doman.
I move minutes of the DPAC meeting.
Thank you. Moved by Trustee Doman, seconded by Trustee Thorn. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Moving to minutes of the DEBC meeting. Trustee Hutchins.
Yes, the Board of Education receives minutes of April 25th, 2017, Board of Education and Business Committee meeting.
Moved by Trustee Hutchins, seconded by Trustee DeGroot. All those in favor? Motion carries. Moving to DSAC meeting, May 10th. Trustee Schmidt and Trustee Thorn.
The Board of Education received the highlights from the May 10th, 2017 DSAC meeting. So moved.
Thank you, and seconded by Trustee Thorn. All those in favor? Motion carries. Moving to Advisory Committee, May 16th. Trustee Croft.
That the Board of Education of School District 79, Cowichan Valley, received the summary of the May 16th, 2017 Advisory Committee meeting.
Thank you. Moved by Trustee Croft, seconded by Trustee Thorn. All those in favor? Motion carries. Moving back to Trustee Hutchins.
Yes, the Board of Education of the School District 79 adopts policy 3730, student reporting, communicating student progress.
Moved by Trustee Hutchins, seconded by Trustee Schmidt. Any conversation? All those in favor? Motion carries. Back to Trustee.
And I'd like to defer the next one to Trustee Smith because she's passionate about this.
Trustee Schmidt, would you like to move this meeting?
That the Board of Education School District 79 adopts policy 1600 contingency reserve. So moved.
Moved by Trustee Schmidt, seconded by Trustee Hutchins. Any conversation? All those in favor? Motion carries. Moving to upcoming meetings, page 49. Okay, there's a couple of things that I've noted here. The first is the Board Education and Business Committee meeting on June the 27th. There has been some feedback that that's the same date as CEBL. Would we like to cancel? Trustee Hutchins?
I was wondering if staff have any pressing business that the board must deal with at that meeting.
Staff, would you like to
Doesn't
comment?
say no.
Mr. Superintendent?
Not at this time.
So it means that we delete, right word?
Delete, sure.
From the schedule of upcoming committee meetings, the Board of Education and Business Committee meeting for June 27th.
Thank you.
Remove, I guess.
Remove is better. Thank you, Trustee Hutchins, seconded by Trustee DeGroot. Any comments? All those in favor? Motion carries. The other scheduled event is around Warmland House invitation to meet with them, to have a tour, meet their staff, and talk about the street activity, and have the board become a part of the ongoing community meetings. So they have suggested a daytime meeting which people have not responded positively to. They've also come back with a dinner meeting, which they say Duncan City Council has just done it that way and it worked for them. So perhaps is that an idea that we could move forward on? Trustee Schmidt?
Can you remind me of the date, please?
The evening dinner meeting? I haven't to date. I was going to suggest that we do it after the advisory committee meeting, which is next week on the 13th, if they are available. I'm not sure if Warmland would suggest that date, but they seem very accommodating. Trustee Croft,
I'm sorry, I'm just looking at this. What was the date?
After the advisory committee meeting, and that's June 13th, which was the same day as they suggested that we come during the day. So, would people be able to attend? Yes. I'm seeing some yeses, so we try for that? Okay, thank you. Anything else on the schedule of meetings? Trustee Thorne?
The 15th, I may not be here. I'm getting prepped for surgery, so 15th I'm in the hospital most of the day, and then 19th I'm doing surgery.
Okay, thank you for letting us know. Best of wishes with that. Trustee DeGroot?
I've passed around a sheet for trustees to sign regarding which graduation ceremonies they're going to go to. The other thing is that the spring barbecue is on June 20th at Alexander, and I will be contacting you all to see what you would like to do at that particular day and if you're coming. And the other is the retirement event, and I will send out something on that as well to make sure that people are aware of when it is and if you are coming, so that we can make plans around presentation.
Thank you. Before we go to that agenda item, can we just finish this schedule of upcoming committee and other meetings? Is there anything else from anyone? Okay, then moving over to Barb's long service awards, retirement event staff, year-end barbecue grad ceremonies.
Okay, you all received invitations to go to your schools along service. And if you are going to go, or if you would like to go, would you ask your principal exactly when it is and make arrangements yourselves? The graduation ceremonies has gone around the sheet.
Excuse me, can I just say, I thought that all the trustees had agreed that they would go to the grad at their liaison schools. Is that
And some are going to others as well.
Oh, and you want the list of who is going to all of them? Is that what you want?
Yes.
And that is for, I'm just trying to.
So that the schools will know that they're all coming, and the chairs to sit on, etc.
Okay, thank you.
Done in the past. And the scholarship anniversaries, I'm assuming that schools will get in touch with their liaison around whether or not they would like you to be there, because that's what we've done in the past. Retirement event barbecue is on the 20th at Alexander, and it's from 3:36. We should probably, if you're going to be there around 3. And that's everything.
Okay, any questions?
Oh, the retirement event is at the 26th at the golf club, and it's by invitation, and you did all receive invitations.
Anything from trustees? Okay, so no correspondence. Moving to new business, local government bylaw zoning. And you will remember that we sent a letter to North Cowichan around asking that they consider not permitting any license or permitting a marijuana dispensary store close to our schools. And I'd like to suggest, even though we didn't get acknowledgement of that letter, that we write to all local governments so that they are aware that we are encouraging them to develop the kind of policies that are in other jurisdictions where that does not occur. So trustee Thorne, moved by trustee Thorne, seconded by trustee Schmidt. Any further comments? Trustee Croft.
Somewhere down the line, can we get sort of a cheat sheet on the bylaw processes that this thing has to go through to have the attention? I just feel like I could be a much better advocate if I knew the processes.
So we can research that.
Yeah, we should. That would be
Unless
Yes.
trustee Hutchins knows that. Unless trustee Hutchins can fill us in.
I apologize, I was just trying to figure out the schedule, so I wasn't paying attention.
Oh,
Bylaws on how stores are allocated or licensed or approved within a school or within a municipality.
So usually there's a zoning area that allows whether it's commercial 1, 2, 3, or 4, which designates the type of use that can be commercial. So, and business licenses tend to be, they'd have to pass certain legislation, like the town of Ladysmith did, removed dispensary, any jurisdiction, any zone within our jurisdiction.
Thank you. So we'll perhaps write that up, could we ask staff to write up the process so that we're all clear on how to advocate? This doesn't happen. Moving to the next one, residential development, and this again is around our schools now being full and new developments, as trustee Schmidt talked about in the south, where in the past, the municipality has requested of developers that land be set aside for schools within that area if they are going to have a huge population increase for family housing. And I think it's time for us to say to our local governments that our schools are full. We want more kids. That's our mission. So if you know a huge development is coming into your area, please, A, let us know, B, set aside school grounds. Trustee Hutchins.
There is another tool called ECC for school property acquisition. I don't think we have any jurisdiction in Cowichan Valley that have utilized that ECC, so they collect development cost charges for sewer and water and road infrastructure and storm drain. But I think it would be worthwhile if staff dusted off that legislation that came out about 6 or 7 years ago, maybe a little longer. Find out which jurisdiction have actually adopted an ECC for school property. So it wouldn't be applied just to the large subdivisions, it would be applied to the small subdivisions as well, if the municipality agreed to implement such a thing. I can tell you our town, actually it's more than a few years ago, we chose to work within the zoning bylaw to establish that rather than putting that cost on all developers. But in hindsight, I think we should have actually applied it. It's seen as a deterrent tax, if you wanted an ECC could be, and so there's quite a range of ECCs in the region based on your capital needs, but especially, and unfortunately can't be applied in regional districts, there is no ECCs like in Mill Bay, so it reaches Duncan, North Cowichan, and Cowichan.
Okay. So we'll do a bit of research on that, and if people are willing to make a motion and pass the letter be sent, trustee Thorne and trustee DeGroot. Any further conversation on that? All those in favor? Motion carries, and Ms. Trustee Hutchins, I hope you know you'll be our resource. Thank you. Thank you. Moving to question period. Great.
We wore them down.
Well, that's okay. Just, this is the last meeting of this school year, so it is a time to thank people who have been in our audience as well. Thank you for attending and thank you for what you do with our school district. Trustee Thorne?
Just information to the board, tomorrow I'm going to Victoria for swearing in. As of this week, I am now the BC Director for Aboriginal Veterans for our province.
Congratulations. Important position. Okay, motion to adjourn. Trustee Drew, Trustee Dolan, all those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.